I love the move for Crochet. I love it. That's great for the Red Sox. I want to see the Red Sox and the Yankees compete again in the American League East. You want to see that. That's the best. When those two teams are as good as they've been in the past, Pedro Martinez and David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez, and the Yankees had, obviously, Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera. I mean, that was the time where baseball was just everything. It was fun to watch. You didn't know what to expect. And Jabba, you know all about that. When you look at the Red Sox over the last couple of years, how many GMs have they had in the last 7 seasons? They've had, I think it's 3 now in 7 years. That's horrible. And the Red Sox, for years, they ride and died with Theo Epstein, who I love, by the way. I love Theo Epstein. This guy, to me, is one of the best GMs, was one of the best GMs, one of the best baseball minds that have been around in baseball in a very long time. But now he's working for the Red Sox, and he's doing things on the side. He's a partial owner of the Red Sox. So, again, we're not going to see Theo Epstein running this organization, but he has his hands dipped into it. I believe he had his hands dipped in the Crochet move. But the Red Sox and Corbin Burnes, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Giants and the Blue Jays, I wouldn't be surprised if the Blue Jays will put all their eggs in that basket. And we all know Corbin Burnes, when his K numbers to strike, to ball Ks to balls are not as good as it has been. It definitely stands out from what we've seen with Max Fried with the injuries. But John Heyman with the Kyle Tucker, I like Kyle Tucker. He's a good player. He's a good outfielder. I don't know if the Yankees need to go after an outfielder. I think with the power that they have in the outfielder, with Giancarlo Stanton as your automatic DH, you definitely have pieces. You can put Cabrera out there. You can do a lot of different things. The Yankees don't need to bring out a star left or right-handed power hitter in the outfield. I think they can go after a defensive player that's going to give you 15 home runs and give you about 60 to 70 RBIs. I think that's more than enough and more efficient than going after a Kyle Tucker, where he can give you 30 home runs.
So who else? We have nothing else in the outfield. Who are we going to rely on? Jason Dominguez?
I think so. I mean, the Yankees have always...
How he hasn't proven anything.
I know that, but he's done it in AAA, as the Yankees have said. He's done it in double and single A. And again, we have to see if he can stay healthy. If Dominguez stays healthy, he's a power hitter on the left and right side. And the Yankees, this, Jabba, they love those switch hitters. For years, The Yankees have always tried to search for that switch hitter that you can use him in many different ways. Well, Dominguez is that
he
guy.
Sure as shit ain't going to be Bernie.
No, there's not many guys that are Bernie Williams, okay?
One of the most underrated players to play the game.
No question. And again, the Yankees, I'm not saying that it's not a good move for the Yankees if they made that move, but are you going to trade a young stud like Luis Gil for a Tucker? I don't know if I do that. If you look at Luis Gil, before he tore his UCL, he was 6-0. He was a good pitcher. And then he was out for a year and a half. He comes back last year, and he wins Rookie of the Year. Are you going to give away a pitcher that's 26 years old and has a chance to develop? You haven't developed a starting pitcher in forever, since Andy Pettit. They don't find them. I mean, they had you, Jabba. They screwed you up. They screw everybody up. They don't do the right thing with these starting pitchers. They got one now. They got a guy that they can develop and put him in a position to eventually be your number 1 or clear number 2 guy.
I almost threw up when they were talking about moving Luke Walker back to starting. I literally was like, what are we doing here? Like, I have no idea what's going on.
Play Holmes back for your bullpen?
No. Keep him away from our team. No. I think the Mets made a big mistake.
Oh, don't worry. You could have had
I think they
back
did.
While you're at it.
He'll be in the bullpen by the end of the year. He'll be one of the highest paid bullpen arms in baseball as an 8th or 7th inning guy for the Mets. There's no way he's the starting pitcher. I know the Astros are not going to want one of their star players to go to the Yankees. So if the Yankees make a bid for him, you best believe the Astros are going to say, you know what? Well, because the Yankees they're not going to overpay for Bregman. And don't be surprised if Struble gets traded still. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a team out there willing to overpay, aka the Giants. I could see the Giants doing it.
Yeah.
if they strike out on any of these guys, Sasaki.
Tucker, except the fact that he is an expiring contract makes me not really want to trade a guy. They've been talking about Luis Heel for Tucker in some kind of package. And Tucker, we just had the Juan Soto experience of falling in love with this guy. He's a fantastic player. And now all of a sudden, we don't have him. And that's because he was an expiring contract when we traded him. And now Michael King, who we traded for him, is a star pitcher in San Diego.
Please don't mention Michael King. It bothers me so much. I did not want Michael King to go. I did not. I did not.
I think King is a lot better than Heel. Heel's numbers after May were not exactly fantastic. He had an amazing start to the season when the Yankees needed it the most, when Cole was down with that injury. So, power to him, and he got the Rookie of the Year. He deserved it. But the Yankees, if they're going to trade him, he's never going to have higher value than he does today. So it makes a lot of sense that he's the name that you hear dangling. If you think about the rotation now with Fried, he's the fourth or fifth starter, right? He's not start. He's Rodon and Fried are 2 and 3 in some order. I would say Fried 2, Rodon 3. I think Fried's a pitcher and Rodon's a thrower, a great thrower, but Fried's a great pitcher. I think that's a little difference between the two of them. I'd love to hear what Jabba thinks about that when he gets back. But you got to move that guy. If you can get, and what they really need is not really outfield. You're absolutely right. It's first and third base. And if they can somehow find a way to get both of those spots figured out, they're going to be in a lot better shape.
Walker's
they need to piece it together.
You're going to hear it. Walker is absolutely a New York Yankee. It's done. I'm telling you, it's done. They already are in the middle of finishing up the negotiations. There's no doubt Christian Walker is going to be a Yankee at first base. No question. It's third base. And I think Nolan Arenado is the guy. I think he is the guy for the Yankees. He's perfect. He's a clubhouse guy. He's a personality. He's going to be a leader. That's what the Yankees need, because they got Mr. Jizzy Chiz over there at second base that ruins everything. I can't stand
True leadership.
I can't stand that ass. All right. So the fact that he's going to be my second baseman, you need to have somebody that's going to shut that mofo up, and it's not going to just be Aaron Judge. You need a leader. You need a guy that's been successful, that has done it before. And I think Nolan Arenado is the guy. He's the guy.
Fish, didn't you say that Arenado wants to play first, though?
Yeah, so that's something that he said, that he's willing to play first base if he gets traded. Willing. Look, I don't necessarily think that's a great idea. Maybe he will have to make that transition as he gets older just to be able to stay on the field, because his numbers last year were freaking terrible.
No, they weren't. He was
Errol. He was a slap hitter last year.
Stop.
He has zero power left. He had like a dozen home runs.
You don't need power with the Yankees lineup. You don't need that. You need a guy that's going to.
Well, you're not paying a lot. Well, the thing is, I would take him only if he's cheap, because I think he's overpaid for that kind of production.
Dude,
that's why you get him.
He had 272. He had 16 home runs and 71 RBIs, and he was playing with the St. Louis Cardinals, who, by the way, they had Goldschmidt, who's an old man. They had nobody protecting him. You put him in between Aaron Judge or John Carlos Stanton. You put him at 5 or even 4 to clean up. I'm telling you, this guy is going to hit at least between 21 and 25 home runs in Yankee Stadium, and he's going to give you about 90 RBIs next year. Guarantee it. And he's a Gold Glove defender. Why wouldn't you want to bring him in?
So that's why I would bring him in, is if you can get Walker and Arenado, theoretically, now you have 2 Gold Glovers on the corners of the infield. And whatever you do with Jazz at second, Jazz has played center field, by the way. But,
Not
second base.
well.
No, he's a second
not very well. He's a second baseman. And you got Volpe. You're going to figure Volpe's going to get better. But now if you got a Gold Glover at first and a Gold Glover next to him,
best infield defense in baseball, if they land Walker and Nolan Arenado with the defense they have up the middle. Volpe is a great defender, and even Chisholm is a very good defender. And look what Wells did this year, blocking the ball. He's an underrated defender at his position. I'm telling you, this is the best defense infield in baseball if they get those 2 guys. Hands down. Hands down.
I mean, especially now adding Fried. If you get those guys at the corners and the runs that they get to save, I mean, it's going to make everybody look better. I mean, let's just be perfectly honest. So I think it's great. And obviously Nolan signed a 9-year, $275. And that was probably low for him because and I will tell you, Nolan is a dear friend of mine. And he has been great to my family. He's been great to my son. And I'm very close to his camp. And he wants to win. He doesn't care about the money. Could give two shits less about what it is. He wants to be on a team that competes, wants to play. And Errol, I agree with you. He's not done, by the way. I can promise you that as somebody that knows it. And is he going to hit you your 35 and win another Gold Glove? No, but is he going to give you consistent defense? Is he going to make the plays? And he will literally do all the small things. And where I think he's such a great fit, he's so good at defense. Him being able to teach other guys certain things, and I know they have great coaches. Don't get me wrong. But being able to you imagine the left side with Nolan and Volpe? Come on.
Job, are you hearing anything about Bregman? Is he staying? Because I know you said something about him.
I heard. So I talked to
today.
Brian Hokie, insider for the Yankees and MLB.com. He said he was probably going to be off the board today. I don't know where that was. He didn't have an idea, but that's what he has heard from the people he had talked to.
It just seems like they're trying to blow that team up because I just saw that the Giants are in on Tucker for a trade. So I didn't know. He's just trying to get out of there and they're trying to get younger and blow the whole thing up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I think it's a great fit at this point in what it is. And Breggy's had a couple down years too. I mean, they have in general. One thing that Alex has that Nolan doesn't is the postseason pedigree, right? That's if we're really talking about it. Bregman's a good third baseman, but he doesn't have 10 Gold Gloves. Nolan's not going to catch Brooks at 16, but damn, he's pretty good over there for a long time, and he still is. So I think with the guys you're bringing in, you kind of have to shape them around it. You brought in a guy where AJ Burnett had his own personal catcher in Benji Molina or Jose Molina. Sorry, there's so many Molinas, I had to figure out which one it was. So you shape and move and do everything. And listening to MLB and Buster Posey today, as a guy that was a catcher, moved to first base, and now the president at the Giants, he was like, you have to bring in guys that make the clubhouse better because that translates in so many ways. And I think that's the thing that they need to do. And as much as you hate Jazz, I think the energy is great because Swish annoyed the shit out of me. But the energy was contagious because there's some days you're like, dude, really? Are you did you just take 17 Adderall or something? Or I don't know what it is. But that was him. And so it became contagious in that aspect. And it was you got to have some of those. And I think it's very important. And you got, guys like Judge and whatever. Then you bring a guy in like Nolan. And I don't know Kyle Tucker. I don't know Christian Walker. I just know them as players. I don't know them personally. But he brings such a dynamic where it's just, he's calm, cool, collected. And it's hey, if you need something, he's very open to hey, this is how I feel the ball. This is what does the best for me. So I think there's dynamics that can create a team where they have an opportunity to bring in certain styles of games and personality that make a winning team. And I think that goes a long way. And, it's something with Christian Walker where he's got the Gold Gloves, he's got the bat, and he's got the confidence. It took him a little bit, and that's all right. Sometimes that happens, but I think they have an opportunity to get some really good guys that can help in more ways than one.